Hello and welcome to the first episode, first video I guess, because I'm trying not to so much do episodes because I've noticed with how I record things go up in odd orders. But this one I know is going to be the first of this series, and it's why I'm also going to have a bit of housekeeping here, which I'm trying not to do because I've noticed I've got so many videos queued up to go up where a lot of the housekeeping's now out of date and I don't want to just redo the entire video. So this is a hobby. No one expects professionalism, especially not me. I'm not perfect, no one is, and this is just something to keep my mind busy, to be honest. So the housekeeping is I tried to get back into making videos on YouTube about 8 months ago from the time this video was uploaded, maybe even longer, and had so many horrific tech issues that ruined all of my grand plans, so I ended up having to do one solo video of how to get into gaming in 2026. Now that I've finally fixed all of this stuff, I'm going to try to now expand into microcosms. I think that's the word, either way, into the whole minutiae of video game genres, and today's video is so you want to get into survival horror games. All of my recommendations that I will be doing, I will be explaining all my reasoning and everything. I will be going through some stuff, and I'm actually going to try, and I probably should have set this up because I'm currently remembering just how slow the start of Village is, but I'm going to skip all of the cutscenes and that and try to just run through this while I talk a bit. Because all of my recommendations are going to be based on the Switch 2, because ultimately that is, if you're only just getting into gaming, I truly do feel the Switch 2 is the best system to go for. You can watch the whole How to Get Into Games in 2026 for that whole breakdown. I am a PC gamer. I very much like having a good PC, and I can run all of the games that I'm going to be talking about here, and a couple of them that I'm going to be showing here on the Switch 2. I can run them at maxed out settings and everything, and genuinely, this is the first time I've put Resident Evil Village on the Switch 2. I forgot that was the bathroom, and I'm kind of stunned here. I'm kind of completely blown away by how good this looks. My PC looks better, it truly does, but I can't believe this is running on a Switch 2 at this moment in time. Resident Evil Requiem as well looks absolutely exceptional. I genuinely don't know how Capcom have done it, and it's giving me a lot of hope that if devs actually put the time and effort in, they can really optimize their games for this system. So I'm hoping that Elden Ring eventually comes out in a working state, because at the moment it's been hugely delayed. So all of that essentially filler done with. So you want to get into survival horror. I have been a massive survival horror fan ever since pretty much the genre started. I played the debut of Alone in the Dark. I then got really hooked on Resident Evil 1 when it came out, and I truly do think that the franchise is one of my favourite franchises. Like, it's one of the best franchises around. It's an absolutely exceptional game. Franchise. And there's so many different games in the genre now, and so many different games in the Resident Evil franchise. I mean, just mainline alone, you've got 9, and then you've got a bunch of the side stuff as well. I can understand it might be a little difficult as to where to start, which is why I think where to start, as weird as it might sound, is 8. Now, I'm going to do a quick explanation of the fact that I have 7, 8, and 9. There's 7. I own them on the Switch 2 because I'm, as I say, hugely into Resident Evil, and I used to absolutely speedrun the crap out of these games on handheld mode on loads of stuff. So obviously the Switch has a handheld before the Switch 2, and you could get 1-0 Revelations and that, although Revelations isn't very good at all. I used to play the NDS port of Resident Evil 1, so Deadly Survivor I think it was called, and I used to speedrun it over and over. So I know fine well, despite owning these games on the PC, I want them on the Switch. And at the moment, and I'm trying to upload this video while it's still kind of in March, you can get all 3 of these games for basically the price of Resident Evil 9, but a little extra for 7 and 8. And because of the caliber of the ports, I was like, yeah, I need to do this because I want to be able to actually play these on handheld, and I am doing that at the moment. My second playthrough of Requiem, I'm basically on a night time. I always like to, and I know there's some weird personal stuff coming in here, which you might be thinking, none of this has to do with the video title. That's just how my videos go. I'm sorry about that. I promise you, I do have useful information. There's just going to be a lot of this at the same time. So I will shut down my PC to be able to go to bed. I'll take my Switch 2 with me. I'll play a little bit of Resident Evil Requiem at the moment, and then I'll shut that down when I'm getting to the point where it's like, yep, I need to read before bed, and then I'll read something and then go to sleep. And it's been working really, really well. And I'm probably going to end up replaying 7, 8, and 9 way more on my Switch 2 than I ever will on my PC, even though my PC can like run all of this maxed out with amazing frame rates, and like my HDR on my monitor is so much better than the HDR on my monitor that I use for my Switch, and obviously the Switch 2 screen is nowhere near as good as my actual PC monitor, but it's just purely the convenience of being able to run it in a short form, and that's what all of these games are. And this is why, again, you will eventually get useful information. Survival horror games are difficult to get into because they feel daunting. Now, first up, if you're not into horror, I massively am, and I don't get jump scared by a lot of stuff, especially Resident Evil. I have played so many of these games that I know where all of the stuff's happening, and I'm kind of hesitant to say this because I don't want to break the illusion to everyone else, so maybe skip 30 seconds starting now. I could see all of the jump scares and everything coming with Resident Evil because they are so coded. It's always a case of, oh, I've just picked up an important item, time to get a jump scare. And the sometimes that it doesn't work on picking up a major item, you can tell it's a case of, oh, I'm backtracking through an area where nothing happened. Well, that's the key. You're backtracking. Nothing happened the first time. You are at ease. So hopefully that was about 30 seconds. But yeah, it means that I understand the daunting for people who aren't into horror. I am into horror, and even if I wasn't, I can get to the point where, although to be fair, if I wasn't into horror, maybe I wouldn't have got to this point. But either way, trying to focus. ADHD is a bitch. Trying to focus. If you're not into horror, I can understand. Part of it is the scared factor. You'll be sitting there terrified. I mean, this here with the crashing and all that, the first time you experience it, although if this is your first time experiencing it, again, this is why I'm trying to just ruin the start here. You'll be sitting there terrified, you'll be worried about everything, your brain won't be focusing on the game, and it can make everything super daunting because then there's the fact that Resident Evil is not a game designed to be easy. Now, I'm not saying these are the most difficult games. For me, especially, they're not. I never really struggle. I do get the odd death with these games, but I've played so much of them that I know how the language works, I know how the puzzles work, I know how the gameplay works, and I am a speedrunner, as I say, so if I actually do a section on this and I feel like I've done it badly, I will quite often hit start, go into load or save. At the moment, I don't think I can do that because I'm still in the tutorial. And I'll replay the section that I've just done. If it's a case of, right, I did that, I used 15 bullets, I got bit once, and it took me about 10 minutes. I think I can do better than that. And yes, I am this anal and obsessive, and I don't recommend you play the game that way because I only do this because it is how I like playing Resident Evil, but that is kind of the whole point of Resi. You're supposed to learn from your mistakes. These games, you're supposed to die, you're supposed to get your ass kicked, you're supposed to be running out of ammo, you're supposed to be feeling miserable. All of this stuff that makes you not want to play a game is unfortunately stuff that you need to experience, and you need to trust, especially with the later games, and it's why Village is my recommendation, and I'm getting to this slowly. You need to trust that the games know what they're doing. Resident Evil has a history of dynamic difficulty, and it is one of the best implementations I find of dynamic difficulty. Basically, if I have 12 bullets and I find a box, I can almost guarantee I'm going to get bullets in it. And I can almost guarantee how many bullets I'm going to get. Now, I say that as if I actually know something. I haven't played Village in a while, so my Requiem stats are in my head. So I'm trying to think how many bullets I'd get on Requiem if I had 12, and I want to say 5. Because, yeah, it's kind of always done that way. As silly as that might sound, the game understands that some people are better than others. And it's like, oh, you have like 30 bullets. And we're going to give you a bunch of enemies, and we want to ramp up the tension and make you feel like you're in danger, so you're going to start getting penalised, and whenever you open a box, you're only going to get 2 bullets, which I think 2's the minimum. They can't give you 1. Maybe it's because of the fact that they call it bullets, and bullets by nature has to be a plural or something. But yeah, it's one of those scenarios of the more ammo you have, the less you find, the more health you have, the less you find. It's all the way that the dynamic difficulty works, so if you're worried about constantly running out of ammo, don't worry too much, because yeah, you might get to a point where you have to run past, in this case, some lichens rather than zombies. You might have to run past some enemies, to be able to find some ammo instead, and this is one of those boxes now, which I don't have any weapons or anything. I can't remember what this is going to give me. I don't even know if it'll let me smash it. Yeah, some force could break it because I don't have a weapon. That's, yeah. And is it? Yeah, I was going to say, I imagine it'll be a first healing item because I don't have a gun, so it can't give me ammo. This is the part of the game now, though, where I've wanted to get to. Why I'm going to explain why I think Village is the best one to get into. Village is 8. You may think you may need to know loads about the other games. The only one you technically need to know about is 7. Village actually starts with a recap. You can choose to have a recap, and I think that recap is good enough, personally. What I'm about to say might sound harsh. Resident Evil 7 is a great game that's got some of the greatest highs in the Resident Evil franchise, but it's also got some of the lowest lows, and I don't enjoy replaying it. I've only beat it fully once. For me, who speedruns the crap out of these, that is an issue. And I'm hoping on the Switch I can at least do it, because maybe having it portable will help. But I do not enjoy the game as much as a lot of people. It's something that I think is a good experience for the first time, but after that, it's like, I don't recommend it that much. And 8's story, on top of having the recap, you don't really need to know anything about 7. So, story-wise, that's why there's a lot of reasons why I think you should choose 8. The other reason I think you should choose 8 is this here. Oh, look, I'm terrible. I'm awful. Oh no, I've been bit. I've missed all of my shots. I've had the crap kicked out of me. If you wouldn't mind actually trying to kill me here, please. I need to show something. You're going to rip my face off here? No, I'm not into dangerous health yet. I think I still at least need one more hit, so come on, finish me off. Seriously. If this isn't also showing you that you shouldn't be that scared of the enemies, because this is the standard difficulty, and I am literally inviting it to kill me, and yeah. And it's because... Will you just please kill me? Come on. It's because the whole point of Village, I think it's got the best way to teach you how to play these games and to learn its systems. I truly do. And part of that is it's got one of the best checkpoint systems. Would you seriously please kill me, for fuck's sake? There we go. It's got one of the best checkpoint systems. It put me into this fight. It gave me 10 bullets. What can I assess from that? That with 10 bullets, I will be able to kill this thing. Now, do I know it'll take all 10 bullets? No, I don't know that, because this is my first time playing. Obviously, I'm role-playing here. Do I know it's going to take all 10 bullets? No. Right, I might need to shut up and actually focus and concentrate, because, believe it or not, the Switch 2 Pro controller, as much as I love it, I'm noticing I am way less accurate with this thing than my Xbox controller or my PC. And thankfully, I don't care about getting bit too much here, because we've literally just seen that this thing struggles to kill people, despite being all big and nasty and evil and scary. Oh, god damn it, I did miss one. There we go, finally killed. So I think that died officially on 6 bullets hit, and I was sure I only had 10 ammo. And it's now let me reload. Maybe I picked some up without realising it. So there. I've done all of that. It's taught me this is how many bullets you need, on average, to kill one of these enemies. Now, sometimes the dynamic difficulty can come into play and it can actually take more bullets. But it doesn't really do that until later in the game and until you've got a ton of ammo. I noticed that the more ammo I had, there's a section. I might need to move the mic quickly to cough. Sorry about that. There's a section that I actually got to where... I'm trying to think I think it was Resident Evil 2, where I was in an underground parking lot and I basically had more ammo than I needed. And the game punished me by making it so that all of the enemies that used to take 6 to 7 bullets were taking 12 to 13. So I actually got to the point where I replayed that section and ran through it without fighting any of the enemies, because I'm like, fuck you, how dare you try to take my ammo. So either way though, it's taught me, on average, that's how many bullets I need to kill one enemy. It never really gives you more than you can chew. And it also teaches you other things as well. So here, I've got a chain, and I need an item. So I can only really go back into the places where I've been, and basically, I need to go back to where I found that person and get the bolt cutters. So again, these are all things that it's slowly teaching you. It's like, okay, so you need bolt cutters to cut a chain. So if you ever see a chain like this, then you know you need a bolt cutter. I understand all of this might sound like doing a preschool version essentially of how to play video games, but that is the whole point of these videos. If you have never played these before, if you want to get into this genre, into this franchise, into whatever, I understand how daunting a lot of this can be, but you need to trust, especially with the good games in this series and franchise and genre and whatever word I'm trying to actually say here, you need to trust that they do actually know what they're doing. You can get some bad games, you truly can, and some bad devs in that. But Capcom have been making these for 30 years. They know what they're fucking doing. And sections like this here, I'm now being set up. I'm in an area where I'm about to get jumped by a bunch of Lycans. I know fine well from my ammo, I have 17 bullets, one healing item and a knife. I know fine well I'm not supposed to be able to kill all of these, but it's just giving me an extra 15. So it's like, okay, so it clearly wants me to fight here. I can't just sit and avoid all of this. I do actually have to fight. And yeah, in this section, you do have to fight. And basically, I don't know the full check for what it needs, but you don't have to go too aggro. You don't need to even, I think, kill anything, but you do need to keep firing bullets. You need to keep showing the game that you know what it wants you to do. You understand, yep, I'm being surrounded by a bunch of Lycans here. I need to actually fight these things. Okay, so I am beyond positive on the PC I can do this. Shoot through the little wooden knot. Maybe this is one of those things that the engine had to be watered down on the PC or the Switch compared to the PC, and I can only shoot through the big gaps. But yeah, I'm shooting here, and eventually I'll have been deemed by the system to have dealt enough damage, to have shot enough bullets, to have shot enough Lycans to actually end this, and basically all of the enemies like leave me be, and I can just get on with doing what I want. And when doing that, all of the enemies will actually kind of not so much despawn, but they do disappear. Some of them appear in different places, and the whole point is you're supposed to feel overwhelmed to fuck here. You're supposed to be on your toes. You're supposed to be worrying, but this is the language of these games. It gives you this action piece, and then it gives you a, okay, we understand the gamer's going to be like terrified. They're going to be, oh my god, all of these things, and I don't have any ammo. What if I get jumped again? That's how these games build their fear. You won't get jumped again for a little while, because that's the whole point of this. It'll want you to have a 5-minute breather. And by having the 5-minute breather, there, Ethan, is it over? So I can run out here right now, even though there were just so many Lycans. I can run straight out here. Obviously, I get this like enforced cutscene, which again is probably the zombies being despawned. Well, the Lycans being despawned. And there were like 4 of them on the roof that I could hear, and 2 that I'd shot. I'm totally safe here. Like, I could do anything. Hey, making noise here. Totally safe. So, I understand a lot of horror games can be daunting from the horror side of things, and they can also be daunting from the fact that Resident Evil is a puzzle game. It's not an action game, and that's why so many people got angry when they tried to pivot into action. And it's kind of happening again with Requiem. Requiem's Leon Kennedy sections are being dragged under the coals at the moment, which is something I wasn't expecting, because firstly, loads of people love Leon. I don't. I've got a whole video on that. It's fine. It is actually the Requiem video. But I actually think it's one of the greatest fucking games, and I didn't mind the over-the-top action because I thought it gave me such amazing stealth and horror sections and puzzle sections and that, although the puzzles were a little watered down. There were less Resident Evil puzzles, is what I'd say, and more general puzzles. And I understand why they had to do that, but it's why I think Village is probably still one of my favourites. Like, it's between Village, Requiem, and 4 Remake are the 3 that I absolutely adore playing. But all of this, it can feel daunting. Just trust the process. And if I'd died there, it would have put me right back at the start of that fight. So if I'd wasted all my ammo, if I'd been eaten by the Lycans, it would have restarted me at the start of that section, and I'd know how to do it better, and I'd know to just keep shooting and just keep taking my time, lining up shots, and as long as I did enough damage that the system deemed that it was safe. This is obviously the second one here, so I got that little breather, and now I've been given a shotgun, so obviously I've been given a shotgun for a reason. Now, I know there's a Lycan there, and it might seem like I should shoot that Lycan, but again, I've played these games enough to know I'm going to run into here, because it's already taught me houses are a lot safer than out in the open. It's already taught me that I can barricade things. It hasn't taught me what they are, but other video games have taught me what they are. A lot of people will probably know what that is. you should be able to see from now, it's got a flammable thing on it. Well, this is one of the fun things about games. This is not going to work. It's a Switch 2 version, isn't it? This works on the PC. Please tell me it worked. Yep, even through the walls, you can shoot that, and bam, that just took care of the two of them that were trying to break in there. So I've now also got a lot of extra drops from that. Now I could go outside and get that if I wanted to. It might just be money, it might be ammo. But instead, I'm going to pull out the shotgun that it's given me, and bam, I'm now out of all my shotgun ammo. So I'm going to retreat, because clearly down here is not safe. These are all of the things. I basically wanted to talk people through what is essentially the tutorial area of these games. Because, yeah, all of this is overwhelming to fuck, and if you've never played a game before, it will be. And all of this looks like complete and utter chaos, and now I'm being swamped by lichens up on the roof as well. And I'm trying to remember if I do actually have to fight here. I think I do, because what I'm looking for hasn't spawned in yet. So I think I must have to keep just shooting things, and then eventually it'll spawn in. And, yeah, as you can probably tell, the whole point of Resi, though, it's not a game that you play once. Now, you can only play it once, and you'll get a great experience out of it. But the whole point of these games, you're supposed to replay them. You're supposed to learn how to play them. You're supposed to understand what to do. There we go. Urias has roared. And perfect timing as well, because I'm completely out of ammo. You're supposed to feel underwhelmed and... Sorry, well, overwhelmed, I guess, at the start. Not knowing what to do. Not having a clue. And then you get the power fantasy side of it. And the power fantasy side of it is, by playing it more and more, you unlock upgrades for your character, which you can do New Game Plus mode, and you can run through it with your new guns, with your new upgraded weapons, with all of your maxed out health and stuff like that. I hope I don't need to keep shooting until I actually get captured, because I know fine well I'm supposed to be bitten by a lichen. It's why I let myself get bit there, and it didn't work. And this one hasn't worked either. Like, I don't think Urias is supposed to hit me. It's been a little while since I've done this, but I'm sure I'm supposed to get dragged from behind. Yeah. Maybe I just need to dodge because I don't have any ammo, or maybe I just, like, knife some people for a little bit. So, anyway, while I am trying to figure this out, this isn't important. This is just one of those things that's, like, distracting the fuck out of me now. Basically, I'm supposed to get captured here, and then all of these despawn again, and it goes completely safe for about a good 20-30 minute chunk, so I can just walk around and explore things and try to gather some ammo and gather some health and stuff like that. But Village, I truly do feel, is the best place to start, because hopefully, as you've at least garnered from this here, it's got such an easy onboarding. It really has got a great little tutorial section. It's designed really, really well. Finally, I get grabbed as I get some ammo. It's designed really, really well to teach you this is what you have to do when you see a chain. This also is teaching you that you'll come across doors that you can't progress through, and it doesn't mean that you have to brute force it. You don't have to kick it down or anything. You have to actually figure out what the puzzle is. You have to figure out what the item is. It's all about exploration. And I think Village does it better than any of the other Resident Evils. I truly do. I love Requiem, and I've just said it is up there with one of my all-time favourites. But there was just something about playing Village. I'm like, this is just kind of perfect. It's giving me everything I want out of Resident Evil. It's giving me the horror, it's giving me the survival, it's giving me the puzzles, it's giving me the action. And it's also teaching me how to play this specific game better than any of the others have ever taught me. Resident Evil 1 was a brutal game to learn. It truly was, and it's because I learnt that game as young, I've been able to get on with the franchise. And now, I'm going to actually very quickly end this video with a couple extra recommendations, because I know this is like became an abrupt ending, but I have kind of shown and finished everything I actually wanted to do here. All of that's accomplished, so now I do need to get to the point. I can't recommend this game on the Switch 2, sadly. It's not available at the moment. Hopefully it will be eventually. Alan Wake 2. Now, this is another game that's a sequel, and you may be thinking, well, should I play Alan Wake 1? Alan Wake 1 is a really bad game. I love Remedy. They're one of my favourite developer teams. I will play every Remedy game that ever gets made. I bought an Xbox for fucking Quantum Break, for crying out loud. A game that underwhelmed most people, and I really liked it. I can't wait for the Max Payne remake. Alan Wake 1 is a bad game. The remaster's terrible. Don't play the remaster. If you play any version at all, play the original. The original's buggy and broken, and I had so many issues that ruined the game for me and made me want to kind of quit it. But I pushed through because I was so excited for Alan Wake 2, and I'm like, I've got to play the story here. I've got to see it because I know it's going to be important for Alan Wake 2. Yes and no. Firstly, I should have just watched a YouTube video and would recommend that to you. I understand you may think that that's like not great, watching a game instead of playing it. In this case, I truly do feel it's the best option because I don't think there's anything special gameplay-wise about Alan Wake. It is a very meh experience, to be honest. I'm amazed they actually did a sequel, but we'll definitely get a 3, and I can't wait for 3. I'll get to this in a second. But the other reason that it turns out I didn't really need to play Alan Wake 1, without doing spoilers, although it's one of the most famous scenes of the game, so if you know, you know. If you don't, then I'm going to avoid the spoilers. There's a chapter that basically tells you the entire story of the first game. Gives you like a 15-minute recap that is a really good recap, and I was like, you know what, that's better than playing the game. So you could just start from Alan Wake 2, which 2 is genuinely one of the most terrifying games I've ever played. I know I started this video saying I don't get a lot of scares from horror games because I'm so used to them. It turns out it's more than I'm so used to Capcom. Because Remedy, oh boy, did they do some mindfuck stuff. They really did, and they really got me some real good times. I was genuinely terrified playing that game, and it was great. Because I had got to the point where I'm like, I'm never going to get scared by a Resident Evil again. Clearly, I'd like, maybe it's just horror in general. And then it's like, oh, no, actually, it turns out it's not horror in general. I just know Capcom games too well. Holy fucking shit, Alan Wake 2 is terrifying. I don't feel it's a great place to start, but it is an amazing game if you love these. If you play Village, if you play 7 Biohazard, if you play Requiem and you want more and you can get the ability to play it on the Switch, Alan Wake 2 is a genuinely brilliant game. It's got some amazing puzzles, it's got some amazing dialogue, characters, acting, set pieces, combat. Everything about it is an absolute masterpiece. It was basically my game of the year up there, and that was the same year Zelda Tears of the Kingdom released. Tears of the Kingdom's a better game, but the Switch 1 version ran like shit, and now that the Switch 2 version exists, it's like, oh yeah, retroactively, I'm happy to call this my game of the year. I always was. It's one of those cop-out things where it's like, yeah, of course it's my game of the year, but I wanted to kind of celebrate Alan Wake 2 as well, because it released in such an amazing state. And yeah, it's just one of those things that, at the moment, it's not available to be played, but looking at how great the graphics are on this, and I think Remedy will find a way to port it, and I do recommend it if it comes out, but it is definitely a terrifying game. Outside of Resi, it gets hard to recommend survival horror because there's things like old school titles that are, so old school style titles like Signalis. Signalis is designed to be like a retro Resident Evil, but it's modern. So that's pretty good, I've heard, but I haven't got around to playing it myself, and it's just one of those. It's a genre that I absolutely love, but it's hard to recommend because there's so many that you clearly do need to at least know what you're doing with the genre and need to at least be adept with it. And it's why I do think Village is the perfect starting point, because you can go into this not knowing anything about Resident Evil and get a great experience. And I can't believe I'm completely stuck here because I can't remember what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, I remember what I'm supposed to be doing. I know I'm supposed to be getting going to the a specific house or the village. Maybe if I actually open my map, because yes, it's there. So it's through there that I'm supposed to be getting, but I can't remember how to open the door. It has been a while since I've replayed this. Either way, I'm waffling, and this is the end of the video. I just wanted to try and at least have some footage while I was trying to think of other survival horror games that I could recommend, but to be honest, I am really drawing a blank, and no doubt as soon as I stop the video, I'll find something, and if that happens, then so be it. I'll actually add a little bit onto the end, because at this moment in time, especially with the constraints of the Switch 2, I really can't think of anything. I know fine well in my library, I don't think there's many actual survival horror games, because I've got like things that would fall under horror, like Diablo, but survival horror is a niche, and it's something that doesn't get made a lot of these days. I know you can get a lot of the older Resident Evil games on here, but it's harder to recommend saying play Village and then play 1, because Resident Evil 1, firstly, I'm kind of hoping they do a full remake, because that game kind of desperately needs a remake, but the OG, it's still a great game, it really is, but it's definitely aged. it's really aged, and going back to tank controls for me is a bit of a problem. And I used to be I was an adamant defender of the tank controls, and actually said to people, you should play it the way it wants you to play it, because by the time it finally clicks, you'll really enjoy it. And I still maintain that's true. But now that the remakes have came out and we've got these games playing like third-person shooters, it's really hard to go back. Oh, come on, I pulled the trigger before it bit me. But either way, it's fine. At least I remembered where I was supposed to be going. So yeah, it's outside of the trilogy, which I say a trilogy. 7 and 8 are definitely a story. Resident Evil 9, this is the other thing, and I'm glad I've at least finally remembered this. 2 and 4 are the trilogy for 9, and I know that might sound weird, but 2 at the moment is not available in any form on the Switch. 4 is, but only the original. I really hope we get to the point where they get ported, because I do recommend that if you're going to play 9, you should play 2 and 4 first, because it'll definitely improve your experience. And this is another reason why I'm saying not to start with 9. You can start with 7. As I say, it is actually the start of Ethan's story. Ethan is the protagonist in 8 here as well, in Village. And there's going to be, either with Resident Evil 10, 10's one of those things. 10 could go a few ways. Either they're going to do Claire's story again, because we're getting a remake of Code Veronica, apparently, and I can't wait for that, and we haven't had Claire in so long, so I would love 10 to be a continuation of Claire's story, like how 9 was a continuation of Leon's story. But 10 could also be a continuation of the Winters storyline, because basically Ethan Winters and his family are the focal point of these games, and the way 8's DLC ends, I'm not doing any spoilers, but that's clearly setting up something in the future. But I don't know whether that's going to be Resident Evil 10 or whether that's going to be Resident Evil 11. So there is going to be a trilogy completed here. It'll be 7, 8, and maybe 10, maybe 11. But that's why I wanted to clarify that, because I said trilogy of games, and on a technicality, 7, 8, and 9, they're being sold as a generational pack or something like that, but they're not technically a true trilogy. You could definitely play all of them. You could definitely enjoy all of them. But as I say, if this is your entry point, you can start with 7. If you're not enjoying 7 that much, skip to 8, because 8 is a significantly better game, and just watch the recap. If you are enjoying 7, great. Hopefully you'll enjoy 8 a lot more. Again, I'm a huge fan. I do like, it's not that I hate 7. I will replay it eventually. I just know fine well I was finished with it, and I'm like, this is the first time after I've beat a Resident Evil game, like an actual horror Resident Evil game, not the generic action trash that we got with 4, 5, and 6 back in the day. This is the first time I've beat it, and I'm like, I don't want to immediately jump back in and play it again. And that was kind of telling to me just how little, on the grand scale of things, I enjoyed it. Meanwhile, Village, played it in first-person mode, and then immediately started it again to play it in third-person mode. And I personally think third-person mode is my preference of playing this game, because it's more Resident Evil to me. I do recommend that if this is your first time ever playing the game, play it in first-person mode, because the horror works better, and the scale of things works better as well. I would recommend, though, playing it again, because again, it's the whole point of these games is to replay it more than once, to learn the routes, to get good at it, to speedrun, to be able to do that. That's where some of the fun comes into it. But for 9, you will enjoy it, but you'll enjoy it a whole lot more if you can play 2 and 4 first. And yeah, all of that might have came off as severe amount of waffle, but again, it's all stuff that I wanted to cover, because this is the first time I've been able to do a video like this, and I know fine well it's actually going to work this time, because I've finally fixed all the tech issues. I wanted to try to cover as much as I could. I know I said it earlier with like kind of a preschooler's definition of trying to explain things. I understand games are very difficult to get into. That's the whole point of this series. I don't know how many videos I'm going to be doing on these, like on different genres, but I knew survival horror was one of the hardest things. I know so many people who are just like, I kind of am interested because I've heard great things about this, and I know people who were like, I really want to try Requiem because I'm hearing great reviews, and I'm like, please do not make Requiem your first survival horror game. I understand what I'm about to say. It might sound really daunting because I'm like, hey, play these other games first, but yeah, play these other games first. Do not let Requiem be your fucking entry point. You will enjoy it so much more if you actually have context. Village, you don't need any context. Village, you can jump straight the fuck in, play it, enjoy it, and then start working through. If you go 8, 2, 4, 9, you will have an exceptionally great experience, because that is some of the highest highs of this fucking franchise. You will be playing banger after banger after banger after banger. 3 remake, I enjoy it more than the original 3. 3 was always the problem child game. They ruined 3 a little bit by removing some stuff, but I still think the remake's actually better than the original. But it's not essential playing. You don't have to play it. It's like a good but not amazing game. I still enjoyed it more than 7, but it's a good but not amazing game. 7, again, it was a good refresh, a good restart of the franchise. I enjoyed a lot of it, but there were moments that definitely dragged, and it's why I didn't want to replay it, because I actually had to replay one of the bosses 3 or 4 times, because I had a weird glitch happening to me. And by the time I was done, I was like, this is already the worst boss for me in this game. I fucking hate playing this thing. I only had an issue on the only boss in the game that I truly fucking hated. But even then, I felt the finale was completely underwhelming. Like, Resident Evil does have an issue with underwhelming final bosses. Resident Evil 3 Remake, definitely. But Village, I was really content with the final boss. Requiem, I was really content with what I thought was the final boss, and then they did the whole, nope, this is the final boss, and yeah. But all of this is personal opinion, and apologies if that comes off as a spoiler. It's one of those that, if anything, I think you're better off knowing that this is a franchise that has an issue with underwhelming finales. It's always about the journey, not the destination, because the destination tends to be setting up the next game, and the next game means you're getting an amazing journey, and sometimes they do close it out with a great boss fight. But yeah, you'll be able to jump in, as I say, play Village. You'll be able to go back to 2. 2 won't feel as daunting, because 2's a lot more of the survival puzzle experience that 8 tried to bring back. To be fair, 7 tried to bring it back as well. But you'll be able to go 8, 2, 4, 9 and have a great time. You can skip 1. You can, until at the very least to do a remake. You can skip 0. You can skip 3 and 3 remake. You can skip Code Veronica, again, until at least to do a remake. As soon as they make them in this style, I already can guarantee 1 and Code Veronica are going to be exceptional games, because how could they fucking not be? They were some of the most supremely brilliant games back in the day. 0 might be a case of 3 remake, where it's great but not amazing, but I would still like a 0 remake, because I actually always liked it. And I'm trying to think, you can skip 5. 5's kind of important story-wise for 8, purely because of one of the characters in it, but even then, I've never actually finished 5, and I didn't feel like at any point I needed to. I've never even played 6. I don't think I ever will play 6. It's absolutely terrible. So, suddenly, out of all of these 9 games, I'm seeing play 4 of them, and 4 may seem daunting as well, but Resident Evil's not a long game. And especially, again, this is what lands to the speedrun. My first clear time for Requiem was just over 10 hours. The world record for beating the entire game is under 2 hours. These are not long games. My first playtime of Resident Evil 1 was, I want to say about 15, 16 hours, because it was my first time playing that kind of game. I got to the point I could speedrun it in under 90 minutes. I didn't even take weapons a lot of the time. It would be a case of run past all of the enemies, collect all of the puzzle items I needed. In that case, it was crests, the Earth Crest, Wind Crest, Fire Crest, Water Crest, I want to say is what the crests were originally called. Maybe they changed them. Maybe it was Northeast, Southwest. I don't think it was. I think it was Earth, Wind, Fire, Water. I think it was the elements. I would get to the point where I would basically take no weapons, just get the 4 crests, do the entire first section, then I'd finally pick up a weapon because I had to do a boss fight, then I'd solve the puzzle to do that, then I'd run through the lab, then I'd pick up the one weapon that you have to do to kill the tyrant, bam, I've beat the game in under 90 minutes. These are not long games. 4 of them, especially on your first playthrough, is less time than you're going to be getting if I'd sat here and see a play Tears of the Kingdom, play Breath of the Wild. Those are not long games. Now, obviously, monetary-wise, they're kind of pricey, but at the moment, that's why I'm making this video now, you can at least get 7, 8, and 9 for a really good fucking price. You can't get 2 and 4, as I say at the moment, but you can at least get those 3 for a really good price. So yeah, I think all of this waffling is done. I have covered every last point I wanted to. I wish I could have recommended more survival horror games, and again, there might be a 30-second thing at the end of this video where finally, as soon as I shut off, I remember, oh yeah, I should have recommended that or that or that, but I did know this was going to be one of the hardest genres to do, because it's really difficult. Like, people tend not to make true survival horror games anymore, and the ones that do tend to always be indie games going into a lot of the retro style and trying to make it clunky and go for the tank controls. And I'm at the point in my gaming life where I can't really play those experiences anymore, so I haven't really played a lot of them. Like, again, Signalis, I've heard great things. I forgot I don't have any ammo, do I? Signalis, I've heard great things, but I don't think I will ever play it because I'm like, I'm kind of done with those. So it's a shame, but everything that is coming to my mind is that kind of experience, and I don't think they're good starting experiences, especially with the fact that the genre has changed so dramatically. This tends to be the way that they're made now. So this is what I feel you should be playing to get into it, because if you end up loving the older style, yeah, you can go back to all the older stuff, but you're never going to get any of the new games. Like, really new games, I imagine. Whereas this, if you can really get into Village, it'll help you get into Alan Wake. It'll help you get into Control's technically. I mean, Control's kind of horror, but it's not a survival horror. But it's one of those Alan Wake and Control are connected kind of things as well. So maybe it's horror adjacent, but it's definitely not survival horror. It's a lot more action. But even so, Control still kind of scratched that itch for me. So I would at least recommend that, especially if you do end up liking Alan Wake 2, because Control has a DLC that sets up Alan Wake 2, and maybe you should therefore play it first, but at the same time, again, it's not really survival horror. So either way, this is now waffling, so I'm going to end the video and say, this has been Sky Fellowship. Hopefully anything I've said here is actually helpful and useful, and if you have been on the fence of getting the trio pack of these while they're on sale, I truly do recommend it, because if you've never played them before, yeah, it might seem a little pricey, but 85 quid is what I paid, I believe. And you don't need the deluxe upgrade for Requiem. It just adds some stuff that makes the game slightly easier. And I've got it on the PC, but I didn't bother getting it on the Switch too. And I'm not noticing any difference, to be honest. And so you don't need it. So 85 quid gets you, I'm going to say, 2 truly exceptional, brilliant games and 1 pretty damn good one. Because as much as I've shit on 7, it still is pretty damn good. And amongst Resident Evil fans, it's seen as a hell of a lot better than a lot of the games. A lot of people really do like it. A lot of people like it more than me. And it's just one of those weird moments where for once I'm actually, as I say, one of the people not complaining about Requiem's action sections. Why are you not letting me open this? There we go. So yeah, until next time, I truly do hope you have a great rest of your day. This has been me, Sky Fellowship, doing a very bad ending to this video now, but we've came this far, so I'm going to say bye until the next time.